So, hello guys, today I'll be explaining the NPSC mains answer rating for Polity, Science and Technology, and International Relations. So, the first question is critically examine the Supreme Court's judgment on National Judicial Appointment Commission Act 2014, which refers to the appointment of judges of higher judiciary in India. So, we know that the 99 constitutional amendment provide for the creation of the National Judicial Appointment Commission. However, it was struck down by the Supreme Court as it was declared unconstitutional. So let us explain this National Judicial Appointment Commission. This question was asked earlier for 2 marks. So let's assume that the question may be asked for 5 or 10 marks. The National Judicial Appointment Commission 2014 and the 99 Constitutional Amendment Act sought to give politicians and civil societies a final say in the appointment of judges in the higher courts, thereby replacing the collegium system. Before the implementation of National Judicial Appointment Commission, there was a collegium system in which the chief justice of the Supreme Court will elect the judges of the Supreme Court in consultation with the president and the other judges of the Supreme Court. So the 99 Constitutional Amendment sought to remove that system with the new National Judicial Appointment Commission. The Supreme Court, in its recent judgment, declared the National Judicial Appointment Commission as unconstitutional, arguing that it undermines the independence of judiciary and that judiciary cannot take risk of being caught in the web of indebtedness towards the government. So, the Supreme Court analysis was that if this National Judicial Appointment Commission was initiated, it would totally destroy the concept of separation of power, where legislative, executive, and judiciary were separated from each other, and the politician will have a final say in the appointment of the judges. The National Judicial Appointment Commission was constituted to replace the collegium system of appointing the judges. The collegium system is one where the Chief Justice and a forum of 4 senior-most judges of the Supreme Court recommend appointment and transfer of judges. However, it has no place in the Indian Constitution. That is, it is non-constitutional. The system evolved from the Supreme Court judgment in the Three Judges Act cases 1998. Although the Chief Justice and 2 senior-most judges are given veto power on the National Judicial Appointment Commission, it is not very wise to include the political executive in the appointment of judges in the higher judiciary. The expectation from the judiciary is to safeguard the rights of the citizens of the country, and this can be ensured by keeping it absolutely insulated and independent from the other organs of the government, that is the legislative and executive. In this context, the Supreme Court striking down NJAC is seen as a major step in safeguarding the independence of judiciary. So you can explain what is NJAC and what is the collegium system, and explain how the new National Judicial Appointment Commission affected the separation of power. Because in India, if you look at the separation of power, there is legislative, executive, and judiciary. However, the legislator, that is the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, become members of the executive. How this is more or less a integration of the two organs of the government. That is, the judiciary is left behind as an independent body which needs to check the powers of the legislative and executive. So the Supreme Court analysis is that if the NJAC is established, it will allow the executive to hamper even upon the judiciary, which is not acceptable in a democracy like India. So this explains the striking down of NJAC as an unconstitutional body, and therefore it was replaced with the older collegium system. Next, discuss the role of Public Account Committee in establishing accountability to the government of the government to the people. So in the last video, I've explained the Estimate Committee. Now the Public Account Committee. The Public Account Committee is the oldest financial committee, and it consists of 22 members, that is 15 from Lok Sabha and 7 from Rajya Sabha. Keep in mind that the estimate committee has 30 members exclusively from the Lok Sabha. However, the Public Account Committee has 22 members, that is 15 from Lok Sabha and 7 from Rajya Sabha. And since 1967, a member of opposition is appointed as the chairman of the committee. The Public Account Committee, that is PAC, plays a vital role in establishing the accountability of the government to the people, as it is entrusted with the task of examining the accounts of the government. So, the Public Accounts Committee, as the name suggests, reviews the accounts of the government. The PAC scrutinizes whether the sums granted by the houses for the expenditure of the government was spent as authorized by the parliament, and for that purpose it was granted. If any money is spent on the service excess of the amount granted by the house for that purpose, the PAC examines the circumstances that led to the excesses. One thing you will be wondering is that what is the difference between the Public Account Committee and the Estimate Committee? So the Public Account Committee is a committee. Uh, for example, the Lok Sabha sanctions rupees 500 crore to the executive under the Ministry of Housing. So the the money sanctioned by the Lok Sabha will be examined by the Public Accounts Committee, and if it is in excess of the amount spent, it will question the executive as to why many money was spent. Following this, then the after the executive under the Ministry of Housing spends the money and sends the report to the CAG, the report of the CAG will be examined by the Estimate Committee. So it places a counter check balance of the excesses of the government. The Public Account Committee is thus responsible not only for discovering the technical irregularities but also bringing out the evidence that led to the waste, corruption, inefficiency, or operational deficiency in the conduct of nation's financial crisis. The committee draws its subjects of examination basically from the audit report of the CAG of India. The committee, however, is not concerned with the policies of findings are and its findings are ex post facto. That is, what is ex post facto? That is, after the utilization is done, only the Public Account Committee will question it. Therefore, it is like examining a dead body after it has already been dead. Nevertheless, the Public Account Committee plays a significant role in preserving the financial integrity of the successive government in the parliamentary history of India. Next. So this question is related to the international affairs. More or less, it's related to China. China is using its economic relations and positive trade surplus as tool to develop a potential military power status in the light of the discussed impact of India as its neighbor. So India and China has has been more or less competitive in the nature, as China is the second largest military spender after India, and India after USA. India is in fourth, and China in recent years have resorted to major reforms in the military, which included giving priority to expand its navy and enforce to enhance its influence on Asia. India is the second largest economy and military power in the eastern region after China. In this context, India's efforts to counter China in the region has forced India to modernize its military and increase the defense budget. However, one must note that India is primarily dependent on China for its import and export, and as a result of this, the the rising economic power of China leading towards geographic and economic encirclement of India. China is investing heavily in the regions surrounding India, developing military base in Sri Lanka, creating artificial islands in Southeast China Pakistan economic corridor, and projects along the northeastern border of India are among the following examples. The recent example is that China has been establishing colonies in Arunachal Pradesh, which was sided over by the Indian defense. And also, you must be familiar with the Silk Route of China. That is, China aims to connect all the countries of the world through a route known as the Silk Road. And this Silk Road is a, is an ancient is an example of an ancient route that China used to maintain trade relations with other countries. Coming back to India and China, India has been dependent on China for its export, and in 2020, China has claimed India's as India's top trading partner with a trade of over um, 55 billion. That is, India buys 55 billion worth of goods from China. However, India exports only 19 billion to China. So this provides a trade deficit of nearly 40 billion dollars of India with China. Thus, this shows that in India's is primarily dependent on China for its exports, especially in the field of electronics, machineries, and pharmaceutical equipments. Mm. So, what is India's objective to tackle China's influence? So, in order to tackle China's string approach theory, India is working close alliance with its neighbor. India has invested heavily in a Jabbar port in Iran and set up air forces in Kazakhstan and engaged in many projects in Afghanistan. However, Afghanistan, the political situation has changed, and emanating the deep threat from China's growth has led to closer Indo-US partnership. India is also fostering strong ties with Asian countries and advocating the rights in the Southeast Asia region and South China Sea region. Thus, India is moving in the right direction and is going towards balancing China and improving its relation with all the nations. India should act vigorously on development along the borders, military modernization, and regional integration to deal with China. So, to write this answer, we need to first focus on India and China relation. India and India and China relation in the field of military. That is, in China is second, whereas India is fourth. Economic, where India is primarily dependent on China for its economic imports and exports, where China exports 55 billion, whereas India only exports 19 billion of its goods to India. Um, strategic relations, that is, um, India is developing its own relation like the X policy, the Chabal port in Iran, and many other initiatives to counter China's influence in India and its neighbors. So with this, the next question will be focusing is ex- examine the scope of fundamental rights in the light of latest judgment in the Supreme Court on right to privacy. So this question is very important because in 2021, there was a setback known as the Pegasus scandal. So basically, what is this? Is that the Israel has had Israel under the organization of NSO created a bug known as the Pegasus bug, and this bug was used for monitoring important dignitaries individuals of various other countries and played an important role in gathering intelligence. So by hacking into the mobile phones of every other person of important persons all over the world, including India. In India, the phones of Rahul Gandhi and many other politicians were hacked by the Pegasus. Prashant Kishore, a political analyst, Rahul Gandhi, leader and opposition member in the parliament, and many other members was hacked by the Pegasus project, and this was seen as an infringement on the right to privacy. So this question may be asked as an example on 10 or to 20 marks. So what is the recent judgment on the right to privacy? So the right to privacy is declared as a fundamental right under Article 21 of the Constitution and is inherently protected under various fundamental freedoms enshrined in Part 3 of the Constitution under Article 19. The Supreme Court overruled its judgment in 1951-61 and says that privacy is not protected under the Constitution. However, the latest judgment of right to privacy broadened the scope of fundamental rights. That is, under Article 21, every person has the right to privacy, and this this case of right to privacy came with the 2017 case Putaswamy case versus the State Union versus the Union of India, where Putaswamy protested against the use of Aadhaar for various purposes infringing upon the right to privacy. The judgment claims gains international significance as privacy enjoys a robust legal framework internationally, though India has remained circumspect. The judgment will have a crucial bearing on the government's Aadhaar scheme that collects personal data, biometrics, and beneficiaries for accessing social benefits and government welfare schemes. So this was provided in the 2017 case Puttasamy case. And the judgment therefore affirms the strength of constitutional protection given the fundamental rights. The apprehensions expressed by the Supreme Court after about collection and use of data was at risk of personal information falling in the hands of private players and service providers. So this right to privacy was the latest case, that is the Pegasus scandal, was a direct infringement on the person's right to privacy, which was provided in Article 21 and 19 of the Constitution. 19A under the right to freedom of expression. So you can cite the example of this and also cite the example of case Puttasamy case, where the the petitioners declared that fought against the Union of India, saying that the collection of other information for personal information is a direct infringement on the uh, person's privacy. So since the right to be alone is to right to enjoy life, which in turn is a part of the fundamental right to life of the individual, this means the scope of definition of privacy will be decided on a case-to-case basis. The restriction on privacy will depend upon which article it emanates from. So this is an example of the right to privacy. Next. The question of India's energy security constitutes the most important part of India's economic progress. Analyze India's energy policy in cooperation with Western Asian countries. So this is an example of energy security of India. So we know that India has passed the national solar mission, and also it is a dignitary of the International Solar Alliance, which was established in 2015 in collaboration with the France in at the Conference of Parties. And this International Solar Alliance is an alliance of 121 countries, which lies in the tropical countries, and this provides for providing for generation of solar energy to meet the energy crisis. And if we cite the example of India, India has aimed to achieve 175 gigawatts of renewable energy from various other sources, such as 100 gigawatts it will produce from solar energy, 60 from wind energy, and remaining from geothermal energy, and various other examples. So India is on a path to becoming an energy efficient country where it aims to achieve 40% of its energy security from 40% of its energy generation from non-renewable from renewable resources like solar, wind, and geothermal biomass energy by 2030. And this has provided an uh, this provided an example to other countries in the establishment of various other countries. So with this, the video on mains answer writing for energy security has come to an end. I hope you all like the video. Please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.